Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Sam Sugar with a very, very special victim video. Those of you who've been watching these videos understand how incredible these have all been, but the story you're about to hear is really quite remarkable, and I'm going to let my two guests introduce themselves. Please.
Hi, I'm Ivory Close.
I'm Adam Close, and our father is the subject of this guardianship case.
So before we get into the incredible details of all of this, take us back to what your life was like the year before this all began.
I was a mother of three. I had two full-time jobs, and life was good. I was happy and, just day-to-day normal life that everybody wants. I had, and it was good.
How about you?
I was working and living down in Dallas. I was working for Solar City, Elon Musk company, and this entire situation with our dad just kind of ruined that. I had a longtime girlfriend and a place and a career, and life was great.
And then it wasn't. What happened?
So our mother, biological mother, she's very mentally ill and had been in bed for nearly 20 years. My father had been taking care of her, and he was diagnosed with glioblastoma, brain cancer. And
for people who don't know, a glioblastoma multiforme is the absolutely worst diagnosis that you can have with any cancer, really. It's almost uniformly fatal within a very, very short period of time and highly resistant to treatment. Please.
Yeah. And so luckily we were able to get the best treatment. Our sister has the financial means to take really good care of him, and she did. She provided a state-of-the-art procedure called the gamma knife, and the results have been amazing. What you stated about glioblastoma is kind of what everyone has treated my father like, that he's going to die. They gave him a 9-month initial diagnosis, and the average lifespan is 14 months, and we're on month 28. And so a little bit of the crux of the situation is that people have grieved and have moved on from him before he's actually died. And it just created a big divide in our family that has been exacerbated by the court system and guardianship that stole my father's rights and freedom, and it was unnecessary. The entire situation did not need to happen.
So walk me through how this started. How did the guardianship start? Who wanted the guardianship started?
The guardianship started because the youngest of 6 children was taking money from both of our parents, who are both cancer patients at this point. And she convinced my mother that Ivory was the one taking the money. So our mother went to meet with an attorney, and that attorney led her down a guardianship path that shouldn't have. She couldn't take care of herself. She had been in bed for 20 years. She needed care, and she still does. She has home health care, and she's battling cancer herself. But she just stepped into the wrong office, really.
Just bad luck. One of the weird things about your particular case is that your mother is still the guardian of your father. Yes. Even though she hasn't seen him, done anything, sent reports. How is the court allowing her to be the guardian when she does absolutely nothing?
So it's just luck of the draw. He was in the wrong place. The court system that he is in is different than most court systems that I've seen. That there is no oversight. And so what happened was, they need my mother to be in charge so that they can get paid. They work on a contingency basis, where essentially once my father passes, then they get paid. I'm not sure if that's how all guardianship cases work. But in this case, it's almost like a personal injury case where they're going to take 33 to 40% of the estate once he passes as their payment.
So
they have not charged her yet.
They have a vested interest in him dying.
Yeah, conflict of interest, and that's really the crux of the situation. Is the attorney that was appointed for our father works closely with my mother's law firm, and it was over before it began. We thought we could come in with facts and truth. He testified on the stand. He was fully coherent. He was being well taken care of. He was doing great. He was golfing. Everything was fine. His doctor spoke on the stand, and nobody listened.
Now,
and all of his rights were taken.
I presume your father had excellent advance directives.
Yes. Yep. He had a will in place. He had a medical power of attorney for the daughter that had been caring for him for the first year after his diagnosis. And then our older sister had a financial power of attorney. And he had everything lined out. My mother has not had anything to do with finances in 2 decades.
When I hear these stories, I just kind of, whatever. What has been the financial damage to your father's estate to date?
To date, that we know of, they're siphoning off his retirement accounts that they didn't put in the conservator declaration. My sister is buying new cars with.
What's the dollar amount that you get?
I would roughly say that we can prove that we have evidence is right around $80,000 that they've stolen. Plus, he gets $8,000 a month in his Social Security, his pension, and his retirement account that he doesn't get. So an additional $100,000 over this period, $120,000 with the going back to when the court case started.
Ivory, you and your brother decided that you had to take some action. Tell me about that.
Well, it was a long court battle back and forth where he was with me for the first 30 days of the guardianship. And then one day my mom just showed up at the door, knocked, and they came with the police and took him away. And then she was court ordered to stay with our mom for about 35 days while we were going back and forth with, the courts. And when he had come back to us, he still had to go for visitation with her. She still had to see him. So he would go down for 6 hours a day for visitation and come back, and it just wasn't working for him.
Were you being prevented from seeing him at that point?
For the 35 days that they had taken him to our parents' home, yes.
He was isolated from you during that.
Yeah, yep. And even in the court documents, it said that we were supposed to be able to see him, and we fought that battle too, where they wouldn't even let us enter the home. They wouldn't let us see him. Our mom would make him call us up and demand things from us, and just basic.
Now, in the meantime, he was still suffering with his brain tumor, right?
Yes. Yep.
And
he's
what
still
was
recovering.
being done about it?
Nothing. She opted for him to not have the chemotherapy, the full chemotherapy, and they didn't do any more follow-up treatments. So they did the basic generic chemo and radiation for the first 28 days, and then after that, there was nothing.
So obviously he was not thriving under the guardianship, and what was being done you considered not to have been in his best interests.
No, he had gone up in pain medicine significantly, where even to try to get it from a doctor, they look at you like the amounts are crazy. They're just not good. So I don't know.
You sensed that there was imminent danger of his life, I presume, right?
Yes, they had made a court order for a pickup for him to go to a nursing home.
And what did you do?
We packed our car up that night, and we left everything behind and took him to a place where we knew he'd be safe, so they wouldn't be able to put him in a home.
So you were acting out of concern that if nothing else happened, he was going to die. Is that right?
Yes, very much.
So you decided to take him on your own without court permission out of the state where you were living, correct?
Yes.
What's happened since then?
Um,
And how long ago was that?
I was
it
February,
was,
early
it was
February.
in February.
10 months.
10 months ago. What's happened in those 10 months?
Oh gosh, a lot of things. Yeah.
How many places have you been living in those 10 months?
Well, we lived in hotels for the first
6 months, maybe.
Yeah, tons. We have I'm gonna make a collage of all the key cards from all the hotels that we stayed in because there's so many of them. But we're in our third actual home, and so without the hotels being
But
included. So.
tell us why you were running. Who was after you?
The courts, the lawyer.
How did they do that? What is it that they were after? What did they want from you?
They wanted our dad back so that they could place him in a home. And they had put stipulations in there that we were not allowed to see him anymore.
So you actually rescued your father from what you felt to be was a certain death, an ignominious death to boot, and you've been on the run for the better part of 10 months.
Yes.
How hard has that been?
Very isolating. Very isolating. Yeah, it's been pretty rough, especially with my kids. I have my kids that are with us too.
Very difficult.
So.
And all for the love of your father.
Yes.
The two of you basically gave up your lives to save your father's life, which is an incredibly noble story. So, how is your dad doing?
He is doing really good, really good. He's lost some water weight that he was retaining because of the certain medications they were giving him, and he's walking, talking. We just went out and took pictures the other day. He's doing great. So.
Yeah. And one of the big things is we were able to get him some therapeutic medicine that wasn't legal in the state that we took him from, and it has decreased his seizures and improved his brain condition. The tumor hasn't returned. He's doing really well. But it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I, as I say, when I hear your story in particular, I get kind of choked up. This must have been impossible for you, almost impossible, to leave your lives and your everything you had and basically be living on the run. How did you manage financially? I imagine your accounts have been attached and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
they've shut down several accounts. They hired private investigators to harass us and harass any help that we get. We've been lucky to have some family members that have pitched in and helped and have been huge assets. Unfortunately, some of our largest contributors have shied away because of warrants that have been placed for their arrest for basically aiding and abetting my father's escape. That they're trying to cut off.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah.
I'd like our viewers to understand how invasive these administrative equity courts can become. What's going on there? What are they doing and how are they doing it?
It's very, very difficult, and I don't know how far you want to get into it, but basically it is just one group with no oversight. That is just there's nobody you can turn to. There's nobody that can listen. It's a machine that just chews up families and it just through greed and selfishness just devastates families. None of it makes sense. My sister's been in it a lot longer than I have. And I came up from Dallas for the original court date. And then once the things happened, I just never went home. I couldn't leave my father. And so, but she's been in it twice as long as I have. And it makes you feel like you don't know what reality is, that this doesn't make sense. And I think that's been the toughest thing for my father is he's battling brain cancer, is he's asked us thousands of times, what did I do wrong so that he could fix it so that this would end? And it's just this torture on his brain to go, why? He was 4 years in the Air Force. He was a school principal for 40 years. He dedicated his life to service and never hurt anybody, never said an ill word about anybody. He didn't deserve this, and he's trying to rack his brain to figure out how he can fix whatever he did wrong to solve this. And he didn't do anything wrong.
And neither have you until this court intercepted your life. And now you have writs of personal attachment against you? Is that what they call them?
Our sister does. And they have seemed to say that I do, but I can't find one anywhere. And I was never told I had to be in court. So like having a bench warrant for my arrest.
Yeah.
Silly.
So one interesting part is they gave our oldest sister co-guardianship, but not co-conservatorship for a short period of time to control the situation and try to get us back to the state that we came from. But they subsequently took away her co-guardianship, but didn't take away my mother's for thousands of violations of what a conservator and a guardian is supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's an amazing story if it weren't so utterly common. Now your story is a little outside the norm, but this business of isolate, litigate, medicate, take the estate, and vilify and crush anybody who gets in the way is the norm. It's the racketeers that run this industry who will not stand down because this is so profitable for them. It's such easy money. They really don't care about any of the wards. As far as I can tell, I'm sure there are good guardians somewhere, but I don't hear about them. So how is your dad doing now?
He's right this moment, or just
right this moment. Is he around?
Right this moment. He is around. We can go and grab him.
Yeah, put him on camera. Let people see what these judges are trying to destroy, and what a little bit of family conflict, and but more importantly, to understand the love of a child for a parent, which you guys display in spades. And I'm so touched by your story. As our viewers don't know, but I've been kind of following along with you guys for a long time now, and I know how difficult this has been. In fact, I don't know how difficult it's been. I just can't even imagine. But God bless you for caring for your father like that. I'm sure there are going to be people who watch this video who will be appalled. And I'm not sure what help anyone can give you guys at this point. Do you have any suggestions or ideas?
I don't know. We're just trying to reach out to whoever will listen, at this point. So we have sent certain things into the court to have them, look over it and find out why the conservator and guardian is not doing their job. And they are trying to get me to go there.
Well, if there is anybody who's viewing this video and is in the Northwest, let's put it that way, or on the West Coast who is interested in helping, you can contact me. I'm very reluctant to give out your contact information for obvious reasons, because you're still being hounded by this administrative judge.
Yeah.
Now, is it the same judge the whole way through?
It is, yes. And the funny thing is my dad filed for divorce because that's what he was told to do by the court-appointed attorney. And they had assigned him a different judge for the divorce. And as soon as my mom had found out it was not the same judge that was doing the guardianship case, the next day it was switched to the same judge.
So there's every reason to believe that the fix was in on that as well.
Yeah, yes.
Is this something you were aware of going on in that particular state? Did you know anything about any of it?
Nope, no clue at all.
Hit you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, yep. Yes, we think that people are supposed to be there to protect you and to help you, and they're not,
How many lawyers did you go through?
I believe there was 5 in total. that were working for us.
And did any of them deliver what they promised?
No, and none of them represented my dad, not one time.
It's really something.
Okay.
Let's. Is your dad in the room yet?
He's almost here.
Okay, good.
Sorry. Yeah,
I think we want to wait to greet him and wish him well as well on this New Year's. It's almost New Year's Eve, I guess.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a better 2019 for us.
Well, not just for you, but for the hundreds of thousands of other wards in the country.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, here he comes.
So,
Well, hello.
hi, Dick. How are you?
Hanging in there.
I can tell, yeah. And you've really lost a lot of weight. You feel better with the less weight from all the drugs that you were taking?
Yes, I do. big time in terms of going a light body.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's very nice.
if you could, and I don't want to belabor this, but what would you say to somebody who doesn't know anything about this business, this so-called racket? What would you say to them?
You mean a person in your
No, a stranger who asks you what happened.
I'm not sure what the question is.
How would you warn someone about guardianship? What would you say to them?
About all the things that
The truth, I walk into that, not want to say political, but just where am I and how am I getting to the next step of being a whole person, getting healthier. To me, it's taken a lot of a full weight program to get me healthy and
We're having some internet problems apparently. So I think maybe, yeah, your stream is not that good. Dick, I'm going to end this by wishing you well. You are incredibly fortunate to have children who just love you. I wish the new year is a good one for you. And again, if anyone is interested in reaching out to these wonderful people, you can contact me on our website. Happy New Year to you all. Good luck. And keep up the incredible work. Unbelievable.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.